Wait a minute. Marijuana, I'd understand, and booze, I'd understand. LSD and cocaine at, 10 years ago in this community? You could... Are you laughing at me here, Lee?
No, I'm not. I'm blowing my nose.
It's just very similar. All right. But that stuff is readily available?
It's readily available now, and it has been for years.
Right now, if you went out in the street anywhere in Cincinnati, could you get all that stuff now?
Well, I knew the right people at the time. It would probably take me a little more time to get it now than it did before, but it'd probably take a couple hours before I could find it. But it's no problem to find drugs on the street.
Well, you can't. You wouldn't go to Indian Hills or Montgomery.
I certainly could. That's
okay.
There just might be more of a quantity of it there, and maybe even a better quality because had more money.
You go to the Over the Rhine area for that stuff.
That might be the typical viewpoint of a lot of listeners, a lot of Cincinnatians to think, well, it's in that community or it's that type of kid. When really, kids from all walks of life experiment with drugs, and when they begin to do that, they stop growing emotionally.
Lee?
Yeah.
Tell me about your kids now. What are they all all grown up and gone?
Well, no. My oldest boy was a good student, and I wanted to make the comment that you can have a good student and still have a druggie. Because when our two youngest boys went in the program, this oldest boy was away at college for the year. And then when he came home that June, we had gotten so darn smart from the program, he didn't go out and get a job. He laid around and slept. He was staying down at an aunt's house, and they'd give him $7 for cutting the grass, and he'd go buy beer. So he owed some money to a friend from school, and my husband said, if you try the program for 2 weeks, I'll send that kid some money.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't try the program, then get out of our life. The Navy had come to school, and he could have been recruited to go in the Navy, so he didn't need our support any longer.
Okay, so he could have got along fine without you then.
Yeah, but he chose the program and realized that he needed it within the 2 weeks.
So how is he doing?
Fine. He's straight. He goes to Alcoholics Anonymous meetings. The boy that went in the program first, returned to school. They do give the program gives the kids their life back.
How would you, one last question for you, Lee. How would you have done it different, knowing what you now know?
Oh, God, that's so hard, because you can't watch your kids 24 hours a day. The whole world is their playground. They have cars. My mother knew who I was out with. These kids go to the other side of town, and you don't know. I think parent awareness, I didn't know anything about the drug scene. But when we were out of the program, I went to Tough Love.
Mm-hmm.
But the man that was bringing Tough Love to the program was on your radio show one Sunday afternoon.
Yes.
And I pulled over and I called him and I said, hey, they took kids helping kids to get my kids to obey me again. How did you do it? And he said on a program, which he had no intention of, that he did put his daughter in a drug program. They went in straight. They moved down here from Michigan.
Well, see, that might be.
Yeah, but don't mess around 11 months playing games with your kids because they
intervene quickly.
If you're doing drugs, don't let them get deeper into it.
Okay.
My one son said he'd never do anything but marijuana, and yet he was using cocaine, and he would have gone on to heroin. He told us.
If he hadn't been intervention.
Heroin.
If there hadn't been intervention, you think he would have gone the full route.
Mm-hmm.
I really appreciate your call, Lee. Thanks a lot. Boy, we're getting some fast and furious action here this morning. As a lot of people are affected by this topic, aren't they?
Everyone's affected, not just the kids that are using drugs, their entire families and the corporate community, and everyone's affected by it.
What do you say, Mary? You're listening in. I'd like to hear your reaction.
Hi, Dan. I'm a kids helping kids parent also, and one thing I want to say at the beginning is that parents have a tendency to feel guilty, that it's their fault.
Mm-hmm.
They have to not think that. Because like Lee, I was home. I did not work while my kids were growing up.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make a bit of difference. You can be working or you can be home all the time for them. It's just them.
Well, I want to know. I have a 7-year-old son.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what to avoid, and I want to know what to do to build the child at his self-esteem, so that he is not subject to peer pressure, and so that he doesn't need to hide pain with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I want you folks who have gone through this to tell me what to do.
Well,
I don't want to have to send my son when he's 13 or 14 or 15 to Kids Helping Kids. I'm glad it's a resource that's available. But what do I do as a parent, and what do all the parents, other parents listening, do to help our children not have to make the same mistakes that have been made by others?
There are a real couple strong parenting skills that help prevent kids to have having druggy behavior. But kids start into drugs, and it's a cycle of behavior that starts off with experimentation, social use, chronic use, and then using just to feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can prevent your child from seeking that, that's okay.
Even to experiment.
Yeah, but what you have is an ideal perspective on it, and thinking that somehow if I'll teach my child all these things, he won't be subject to peer pressure. When all of us are subject to peer pressure.
Right, I understand.
And it just depends on how you want him to perceive the pressure that's around him, how you want him to perceive his friends at school, what they're influencing him to do, whether it's positive or not.
Mm-hmm.
The one parenting skill that I wanted to mention is accountability. For every action there's a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether authority wants to intervene, that consequence to be one that teaches the child something from the action. That's a strong parenting skill.
So you're saying that if a child does something wrong, incorrect, even destructive, don't shelter them from the consequences of that behavior, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because that's one thing that
Mommy will fix it.
Yeah. This motivated me to continue using drugs, is I always thought I would get out of it. I would get high and I would wreck my car, or somebody would be there to get me out of it. Someone would be there to take away the consequences, and that enabled me to continue to do what I was doing because I never faced the consequences.
So if the right kind of consequence for that is, hey, if you wreck your car, that's fine. Walk, kid. Is that what you're saying?
Buy him another car.
All right.
A lot of parents, I've even had, talked to parents that were buying their kids concert tickets. He wants to go to a concert, and I'll just buy him any tickets that he wants to go to his concert because that's his hobby. He likes to listen to music. And they didn't know that he was, stealing money from them, going to buy drugs, get the tickets from them, even to give tickets to his other friends, and he would be selling the tickets to his friends, use that money to buy drugs, and go there and get high all during the concert. And then parents were saying, well, I just bought him the concert tickets, and that's the kind of things that he
try
likes
to placate the kid. And if I just to do this, and if I bargaining and bartering with the kid for hoping that if they're buy him enough, the kid will straighten out.
Trading off. Kids say, well, I'm not getting good grades because you put a lot of pressure on me to get good grades, and mom and dad says, well, I'm not going to let you get your driver's license until you get good grades. That sort of trading off, sort of playing games. But if the kids are going to get into drugs, they're going to get into drugs despite the situation. And there are a lot of signs and symptoms that parents can look for. Don't be concentrate on prevention as much as being able to watch for the signs and symptoms. Some kids will look as though they need some prevention, but you're never going to know. You can never know what kid's going to be a druggie and what kid's not going to be a druggie.
Mary, how's it going now?
It's going great. It was a long, hard program for our son.
How long was he in it?
18 months. And but it has been worse every...
How old is the kid now?
He's 18. He was not quite 15 when he went to the program. And he was just that close to becoming, involved with the law.
What did you learn about yourself through this?
What did I learn? Oh, golly.
Are you better now? I mean, did it help you?
Yeah, it did. Like it said, the Monday night raps, the support from the parents.
You had to get involved too, didn't you?
Oh, definitely. It's a grueling program. It really is. I'm not going to pull any punches about that, but it's worth it.
You haven't mentioned your husband yet in this, or the man in the house. Is there or was there?
Yes, there is.
There still is?
Yes, still.
How did he react to all this?
About the same as I did. We were just devastated. That the thing is that we didn't recognize the problem sooner because he had been doing it since he was 12 or 13. All kind of behavioral problems in school and.
Okay, Ben has a question for you, Mark.
Psychotherapy, and there's not a problem. There's not a problem.
Mary?
Yeah.
What kind of things did you first start to see in your child that you noticed that there was a real problem?
Okay. The skipping school, the suspension, then coming home with the red eyes, unable to walk steady. Then there was money missing. He stole from his dad and myself. And
how did you intervene, or did you intervene at those points?
Okay, we went through several, well, like I say, we went through the psycho